Said hello folks and all this lot, but I'm going to preface this video by saying I don't half waffle a lot in it, so you have been warned. Oh look, Corgi collection. I joined the Corgi Collectors Club and I've got that set me off, the DB5, because I never had one as a kid. It came out too early. I had one of the remakes, but that's the exact copy of the original. The Saints card, the Mini, and I've got, oh fuck me, what's coming this week? Porsche Carrera 6-cylinder Le Mans car. I love it. I'm a big kid at heart. Anyway, let's get on with the video. Yeah, about time, Jim. Fuck me. Repair needed. These cordless ratchets, I think I got mine off Amazon or eBay, whatever. Only about 30-40 quid. They save you no end of time. Loads and loads of time. Because as you get older, when you're doing that to like 20 sump bolts and all this lot, you get a bit of carpal, or at least I do. It's not from strenuous masturbation, honest. Anyway, went to plug this one into charger, and it comes up as fully charged, which it isn't. I know, because I ran the twat out. And what happened is, and I've had to do this before, so I'm gonna have to get some. I've got some solder somewhere else. Resolder this, and it'll be good as new again. Anyway, that is not why I'm filming in. I haven't had my coffee yet this morning, and I'm on nights. I did yesterday, Sunday morning, so I've done afternoons, or a few afternoons this week, because we've had a lot of breakdowns and shit. And then I did Sunday morning, which I fucking hate. I hate with a passion you would not believe. I don't know about the rest of you, but if you ride a motorcycle or you've got a car interest or anything like that, or you go racing, whatever, your social life is constructed almost exclusively around your weekend, because fuck all happens in the week. And that was me for years, donkeys years. Me and my mate would pal off at the weekend and we'd just go somewhere, just go on a motorbike ride, 200-300 miles, you know, do that. Good food, laughs, ogling at the women, being very awkward with women, and ultimately not scoring. Anyway, that's a different story. Me and him have long since parted ways. Yeah, when we were both on 125s and we both passed his test, we palled about everywhere. And it was a brilliant time in my life. I'd live it all over again. Yeah, I would. When I got into driving, see, when I was in the engineering and in the factories and stuff like that, your weekends, alright, I used to have to do a Saturday morning in the factory, but your weekends pretty much were your own, and so it was brilliant. You had a whole weekend, free time, a little bit of cash in your pocket. These back in the days where you could put £20 in your pocket. I mean, I'm only talking in the early 90s. Put 20 quid in your pocket, you could go out, fill your bike up, have a really good dinner, you know, have a couple of beers and all this lot with 20 quid and get back home again. Like, you could go to the coast from where I am, into Midlands, go to the coast, have fish and chips, a couple of pints, whatever, fill your bike up again and come back again, and you still have change out of 20 quid. So you need 20 quid for a good weekend. 20 quid now wouldn't get you off the fucking driveway. Anyway, that's by the by. Sump's off. Now, I don't know whether you're going to see this, but I'm going to go in here and hopefully you can see the strip thread. Don't know if you saw that. It's not really important. The fact is, the thread stripped. I haven't got a tap that will go to the next size up if I wanted to repair it, which I think it's worth repairing. But another sump's on the way. Now, I did say in my last video that for ZZR you needed a third oil line, which is true. Right, bear in mind the orientation of the Sump is arse-bat face, but you have a big double banjo here. It's not screwed in. That's the original that looks like a double off the ZX10, which you need, because that's one side of the oil cooler just there. That's a drain plug. That's one side of the oil cooler there, and this is the double, the proper double one that's on the ZZR, and the other oil cooler line goes to there. Yeah, I've got that right, haven't I? Yeah, hang on. Right, one You wanker. One oil cooler line goes from there to the oil cooler. So that's one line out of the way. I was confusing myself then, which is not difficult. The double one, I said you needed a third oil line, and this is that oil line. See, it's big, chunky fitting. Nice line, nice line. To a little fitting, and I thought there was a blank top fitting on the sump. Makes sense. You know, I saw this. This is £144 new, by the way. I didn't get it new. I bought it from a breaker in the Germany. These guys, I've had parts from these before, and they've always been very, very good used quality. It's Motorrad Teal Hanover. Look for them on eBay. All the bits I've had off them, and I've had quite a few for a lot of bikes. Free plug, yeah! Not a sponsor, should be. And they've all been in very good order. If you look at this line's probably 20-25 year old, whatever. It's brilliant. It's in really good nick. Obviously they look after the bikes better in Germany, but then again they have a lot of tax breaks and shit like that, which, you know, if a bike blows up they just go and swap it. Right, anyway. The point of this video, not that there is any point to mine, but there you go, is I thought there was extra fitting on the sump. It turns out there isn't. The only logical place, by the way, if you've got a ZZR 1100, you're already going to know this, and you're going to be shouting at the screen going, Jim, we already know this, you thick tit. The only place this can go on is there is a blanking plug on the engine. I'll tell you what, I'll go in the shed and I'll attempt to show it you. I haven't homework for this yet. Do you see what I did then? I changed location mid-sentence. Oh, I'm getting so arty. It's unreal. Anyway, the shed's a shithole. It's a complete fucking shit pit at the minute. Because generally when I get stuck into something, I just carry on and carry on and carry on. And then I'll have a little bit of a tidy up and I'll carry on. Right, got the original gasket off. It's usable, but you can see the silvering has come off in places. There's a little bit of a gasket sealer I've got to get off the bottom of the engine. Speaking of which, right, this is obviously the other side of the engine. That was flatulence. And water pump. And I nearly took the water pump off to get a better view, but I ended up taking the sprocket cover off. This is the clutch slave cylinder. Oh bollocks, one of the bolts is just falling out. Let's put that back before I forget, because the danger of this is, as you can see, I've got the sump off. These are all M6 8mm heads, and these are all M6 8mm heads, and if you get them muddled up and confused, you are in a world of shite. Anyway, underneath the engine there must be somewhere for this pipe to go, which I expect on the ZZR 1100, if you don't already know, is, are you ready? We're going under. Submarine, dive, dive. Boop, boop, boop. Shut up, you tit. Is special pointing device. That, there. As you can see, hopefully, there's a little blanking plug in there, but it's flush. Or, well, not flush, but there ain't a slot in it. And there ain't a grub screw in it, and you can guarantee it'll be fucking thread locked in. But I think, I might be wrong, it has been known that that is where the other end of the oil line goes. If not, the only logical place, because that is the end of an oil passage. If you look, I don't know whether you can see. Let's get some light on the subject. God, Jim, this is professional. Lighting, editing, swearing. As you can see, that is an oil passage, or it's certainly a cast passage of some sort. Right, that'll do. Far too bright. Don't want to wake up. The only other place I can think of is here, but I don't think it'll reach there. And then what do we do with this wire, and what do we do with this? It can't be that. Surely that's like a neutral switch or something like that. This is the oil pressure switch, which we've took off, which is a screw-on jobby. Now I've noticed on the sump that's coming, it's from a later ZZR again. And we'll return to the shed to show you the differences. This is thrilling. Back in the shed and I haven't had my coffee. I'm alarmingly awake though. So anyway, if you are doing the sump swap, you still need that bolt off the ZX10. This bolt, you're probably better off asking a breaker. I managed to get a new old stock. They are about, or ask your Kawasaki dealer. It says on the Kawasaki website that they're no longer available, but somebody somewhere must have some. But I use Cradley Heath Kawasaki, which has probably the biggest stock of Kawasaki parts, certainly in Britain, possibly in Europe. They don't have it, or you've got a ring for it. But just chance your luck, if the sump that I've got coming, the picture has shown it with the oil line still fitted. So I'm up against a spare bolt. So you can see now that this, so it doesn't go anywhere. That was for effect. Now the oil pressure switch on the ZX10 is there, but it fouls the exhaust, and I mean properly fouls the exhaust, because the exhaust is literally here. It's really close. So on a ZX 1100 sump, it goes there, screws in, lovely, so it goes there. Then the hard line, that little hard line, goes from there up to the casings, basically. So that's where your little hard line is. That's your other drain plug, and that's a drain plug. Always use both drain plugs, because you'll be amazed how much shite comes out of that one. So that's my thinking, is that little plug there, I'm going to go and do some googling, because I need to order the proper banjo bolt for it. I think that plug is the culprit, but I'm going to look at a load of scrapper ZR 1100 engines and stuff like that, just to see if there's a clue from where it goes, because the microfiches give you no clue at all. Not looked at the Haynes manual yet. There might be a little sneaky photo in there, but the only thing it mentions about oil lines in there is just to check their condition periodically. And repair and replacement, it basically just says unbolt them, put new ones in, bolt them up again, use new crush washers, and that's it, because sometimes that's all Haynes is good for. But you know, I'm not knocking them, they are brilliant. You will struggle to repair stuff without a Haynes or a Climber manual, I'll tell you that. So anyway, that's it today. I've got my oil. The oil's come, and I'm using this company. I found them on the Bay of E. Now bear in mind, that ZX10 was built in '88. Oil technology has moved on a little bit, because half my career as a test driver, at least the first half of it, regularly was helping to develop motor oil for a company called Lubrizol in Derby, and they developed Shell Power, V Power and all this lot, and they still don't know how they've done it. Anyway, so oil testing and development and blending, it's the blending that's important. Is you're going down to thousands of a decimal point on miles per gallon and stuff like this. We mainly did it for truck oils, and you put a control oil in, and you'd go and do literally hundreds and hundreds of laps, and every lap has to be exactly the same. There's accels, decels and all this lot. And apparently, if I heard it right, one of their engineers, who was a lovely boy, really lovely, was a man actually, said that my error rate was less than 1%. God, I'm just that good. And then what they'd do, they'd put a new blend of oil in for a customer such as Silkleen Fuchs or somebody like that, Shell, whoever they were developing it for, and it would be a blend that they came up with, and we'd go and do it again, and they could tell if the truck was giving better MPG and stuff like that, because there's less friction on the engine or whatever. Sometimes as a driver you could actually tell that they'd changed the oil. Sometimes they'd do a bluff and they'd actually put the control oil back in, and they were drained and flushed each oil change about 12 times. They were just flushed through. There's absolutely none of the old oil left in it. It's very, very precise. It's very, very scientific. But they also did obviously motorcycle oils and stuff for Silkleen and all this lot, and that involved, they bought a load of brand new Fireblades once, got a racer to do a few laps of Donington Park, and then use that data on engine bays where they test the engines. And basically these Fireblade engines did literally thousands and thousands of laps of Donington Park, ragged to the tits with different blends of oil. So it's a very complicated thing. So when you get in, this is why I don't get involved with when people ask on forums, what's the best oil for me bike? Fucking put anything in it. There is no such thing as bad oil. You can take that as gospel, hand on heart. No such thing as bad oil. If it's an older bike or a classic, I'd go for a mineral, something like a Morris Lubricants mineral. But I'm trying these guys out, Smith and Allen, because basically I looked at Putoline oil and I looked at the Shell and the Castrol and all the names that we usually go for, Rock Oil and all this lot. And for like 5 litres of oil, 4 litres of oil, you're talking 40 quid plus. Now the last time I did an oil change on Nibbler, which bear in mind was only a year ago, perhaps, might be a bit longer, because I've lost all track of time, what with the COVID and everything, and the lockdown and all that bollocks. I certainly didn't pay £40 for the oil, and I know it was, I'm sure it was this stuff I put in last time, I think. No, it's not. That's fucking fork oil, Jim. I put in something like Rock Oil or Putoline, because I ordered it from Wamoto. Something like that. It wasn't 40 quid, I'll tell you that, and I thought that's a bit fucking steep. It's got to be something to do with Ukraine, because I can't remember it being that expensive. I can remember fully synthetic shit hot racing oils always being about 12 quid a litre. They've gone through the roof. So, found these guys on eBay. They make the shit, or they bottle it at least. For that bottle down there, oh god, my back and my bum and my balls. Right, 5 litres. Doesn't look it, but it is. It's 5 litres. Let's fill it with beer and find out. High quality semi-synthetic motorcycle oil. ZX10, built in 88, only needs a semi-synthetic. We're not getting into an argument about oils. Like I say, I've spent most of my career developing the fucking things. And you will always get some tit on a forum always going, oh no, I always fit alien technology, microscopically advanced £3 million a litre racing oil because it's best. Yes, it is, if you're on the red line all the time and the bike's only done fucking, I don't know, what does a bike do on an average race meet? I don't know. Probably only 100 miles, a couple of 100 miles maximum. I don't know, unless it's endurance, obviously. But then that engine is stripped down, and the engine oil is drained out. It's thrown away. It's only got to do its job for a very small time, a couple of hours, unless it's endurance, obviously. So fine, put 80 quid worth of oil in it. It's your bike. It's a waste of fucking money. That bike was built in 1988. Fully synthetic and stuff like that was only ever found on aircraft engines or pure race engines or stuff like that, and it was developed for that purpose. Something which chats at full speed all day long. It's like, I do believe Shell Rotella was developed for turbine engines, or they certainly do a Rotella for turbine engines. Gas turbines, jets, basically spin at 100%. Once they're fired up and powered up in use, one of their turbines, because you have several stages of compressors, usually 2 actually, one of them is always running at generally 100%. It's almost like a dynamo. So that's what it is. And transformers, transformers, not that kind, Jim, not the little brilliant robots. Oh, I love them. A lot of industrial transformers use engine oil as an insulator, because it's very, very good. Which is why when I got oil in the ECU, this is taking far too long. When I got oil into the ECU of the Mercedes, which is why it doesn't fucking work, because if all that plug is full of oil and the loom is full of oil, because they wear hollow pins, it's going to stop the electricals from getting through. especially if it's a low voltage signal wire, something like that, something that only literally runs on a couple of volts. But if it stops 12 volts, it just shows you what a good insulator oil is. Anyway, we've flushed all the oil out of the slinky. I've ordered a battery for him today, so hopefully when the new battery's in, I'll give it a little boost charge and hopefully it'll crack right up. But that is another video. So yeah, so I'm using this, I'm going to put this Smith & Allen in when we finally get a fucking sump in that works and we finally work out where all the fucking oil lines go. Right, so I'm using these guys, find them on eBay. That was not 40 quid for 5 litres. For 5 litres of Castrol or something like that, you're probably talking more towards the 50-60 quid mark. If that's what you want to put on your bike, that's fine, but it meets JSO. It meets the minimum spec. Okay, if you've had anything to do with vehicle development, engine development or anything like that, which is what we do, as well as durability, you will know that the boffins have worked out what the best oil is at the time. ZX only needs a semi-synthetic. It will say so. You know, you can put fully synth in, you're wasting your money. Absolutely wasting your money. Anyway, that's where I am. That's the headache I've got to scratch. This is turning in to a right fucking trial. I am utterly convinced this bike does not want to be fixed, does not ever want to be used on the road and all this lot. But there gets to a point in a fixing up session and all this lot where you turn the corner or you start it up for the first time after a rebuild or whatever, you're taking it up the road for the first time, which is always a very pensive moment because you think, Christ, have I tightened this up, have I tightened that up. Now I get easily distracted. Did you? Really? When I came back in from the shed, I was going to show you the differences in the sump. So I explained on the ZX10 the oil switchy pressure switch is there, and then on the early ZZRs it's here. On the later ZZRs they moved it again. They've cast a bit here, this passageway here, and it goes there. Hopefully it's going to clear the exhaust, because as far as I'm aware, they didn't massively change the shape or the style of the exhaust. I don't know, maybe they did. Maybe I'm going to have to ferret into the microfiches again and check, but I just wanted to show the 3 different places where they've put the oil pressure switch. So this is going to be at the end of the other bit of video, and some of you might not watch this far. Did I put that in correctly? Did I put oil in it? There's a story there. A friend of mine had a brand new motorcycle from a very, very well known dealer in Hinckley, which is still operational, who had a, let's say, a bit of a dodgy mechanic at the time. Now if you know the dealer, you'll know the mechanic I'm on about, because he's quite well known amongst bikey thievery circles. And bikes used to go missing after they went for service, funnily enough, when this person was employed. But not only that, my friend went to pick his brand new motorcycle up, I went with him, and I always look a motorcycle over after it's been serviced, regardless of the dealer, when I used to get them dealer serviced. The only reason I started doing my own servicing with cars and bikes was cost. I couldn't afford to put something in for a £300 service every time. Yes, if it was under warranty it went to a dealer, that's not a problem, but the only new bike I've ever had is a 125, so it was never too much. But you're still talking £100–120 a service then, and this was, you know, 1990. So yeah, so that's the only reason I do my own stuff, is cost, and it's still the same now, although we do have a pet, Steve. Gotta give him a mention, bless him. He is one of the most helpful, lovely blokes you will ever meet. Some people are naturally helpful, I'm not, I'm a selfish twat. I like to get as far along with something myself without any help as I can. But as I get older, I've learned to realise that quite often it's better to ask for help, or look at the job, weigh it up and go fuck it, palm it off. But it takes years to do that, because I've always been very independent on stuff like that, and I hate asking for help, still do. But Steve is always there. He's a good one. He really is. And his aqua jiggler's down there when he wants to come and pick the fucking thing up. He's got some diesel injectors to clean, and he was going to buy one. I says borrow mine, but that was about 3 weeks ago because I've had the COVID and everything. But anyway, he'll see this, and no doubt he'll put some smarmy comment on my messenger. Bless him. Love him to bits. Right, so that's where we are. So anyway, the cost of that wasn't 50 quid or 40 quid, £25. £25 for 5 litres of a good quality semi-synthetic motor oil. Do your homework. Don't throw money away, because the difference between that and Castrol Edge and all this lot is a lot of kebabs, and we like kebabs. Oh, I might have a kebab this week. Anyway guys, it's Monday. I'm on the night shift. No, it's not Monday. I had Monday off. Oh fuck me. It's Tuesday. I'm on the night shift. Anyway, that's where I am. Hope it made sense. I'm beginning to think it didn't. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Hello to the new subscribers. And I'd like to say hello to all the Patreon supporters that keep me in coffee and kebabs. So far, none. And I know why. Because we're all in the same boat. Some of us are sinking, some of us are flowing with the river. When times pick up, I'm sure I'll get a few Patreon supporters. When I first started the channel, I did do something, and one guy offered to send me $50 and all this lot, and I didn't have Patreon or anything like that set up. And I was quite embarrassed actually, but I can understand why people do it. Anyway, that's my little whinge over. Hello to all the usual subscribers and to everybody that comments, like Eddie and Carl and all that lot. You are very much appreciated. And one of my new subscribers is Simon, who hopefully we're going to meet in a couple of weeks, or a week, I don't know. Anyway, 16th of October there's a Rover car meet, or well, one of the Rover pages we watch is Roverman Paul, Project Nigel, and they're having a meet-up up in the moors, and I think I'm going to try and get. Till then, bye bye. Good shot of my hand there. You know, I said I was easily distracted. I was waffling on about how I went to the dealers with my friend, and like I say, I check a bike over regardless, and there was no oil in the sight glass. Turned out they hadn't put any oil in it after its first service. And I understand workshops are busy. If you get distracted, go on a lunch break, whatever, you go, did I do that or whatever? But you know, due diligence should have stopped that and basically saved him a new engine. The dealer was extremely apologetic, and I know the mechanic got a right rocketing, but it shouldn't have happened in the first place. And that is the last of the catch-up clips I'm going to do, because I'm not distracted. Squirrel!